So, what's blocking your abundance? This is a question that many super talented, creative, high achieving women are asking themselves. If you are working so hard and you've been doing so with consistency over so many years and you're not really seeing the fruits of your labor, you may be wondering what is in the way. And it's a great question. I am going to be sharing 6 abundance blocks that you may not even be aware of. And the reason I really want to share these with you is because I wish someone had told me about this decades ago. The first abundance block is a sneaky one. This is the one where you are holding on to chronic shame, chronic guilt, chronic resentment, not forgiving others, and thus that space that is meant to be for bringing in the very thing that you want, the very thing you want to manifest, is being clogged by all the old things. I know this very well. There was a time that if somebody did something that I found went against my values or hurt me because I was not at the time able to really acknowledge my hurt and deal with it, I would simply basically go into avoidance and rejection of that person. Although I felt it was a strategy of getting that problem out of the way, as you can imagine, I was resisting inside of myself. And when we are in resistance, no matter what the reason is, then we're emitting a vibration of resistance, and it's not discriminatory. So, if you have difficulty forgiving, if you've been hurt in the past, if you suffer from chronic shame or you often feel guilt, these are low vibrational, energetic frequencies that will block your abundance. The second block to abundance is none other than being a workaholic, always being in action mode, on do, do, do. Forget about the be. And somewhere you're actually even uncomfortable with simply being still and not having something that you have to be doing. And this comes from the subconscious belief, or even conscious, that rest is actually a reward instead of being a birthright. The issue with this kind of understanding is that you work yourself to the bone, you're stressed, you're frazzled, you're tired, and this stress is coming from scarcity mode. Because if you ask yourself really, why is it that you have to be working all of the time? Where are you not trusting that there is enough and then you can relax and allow things happen? And so it's essential that you really want to understand that when you are in stress mode, you're constricted, you're closed, you're not as permeable as you would be if you were relaxed. And so this idea that you have to hustle for worthiness instead of coming from a place where you're already worthy, this idea of that you will only relax when work is done, instead of saying, ooh, I get to be always relaxed, and from that space, show up in my best, in my highest, and really manifest the things I truly want. So working all the time, getting super stressed, treating rest as a reward instead of a birthright is definitely an abundance block. The third block is the block of being disconnected from yourself. Now, this is another one I know really well because for a while, I suppressed my phenomenal feminine. I ignored my intuition. I wanted to be left brain, logical, which is what I thought was required to get ahead in the corporate world. I was chasing after achievement, which was not in alignment with what I wanted. Achievement is great, but if the achievement is not in alignment with your inner knowing and your soul's essence and desire, it is sham, it is cheap. It will basically keep you running after the next thing because it's never truly fulfilling. And so this is one that many super talented, high achieving women, it's a trap we fall into. It's super important that if you really want abundance in your life, you're coming from a space of authenticity, unapologetically, boldly showing up as your true self with your true desires. It's not about what your dad wants or your mom wants or the world wants or your husband wants or your children, whoever. What do you want? And the reason why that is important, it doesn't make you selfish. It makes you authentic. And when you show up authentically, then you're showing up in service. There's a reason why there are not two of you. You came to do something, and if you do not follow that call, then what gap are you leaving in the world? So if you truly want to facilitate your receiving abundance, step into your authenticity so that the universe can know who to deliver to and where to deliver to. The fourth block is confusion, lack of clarity, lack of vision. It's this today and that tomorrow, and it's going in a yo-yo. And so even by the time you've said, this is what I want, and it's coming towards you, you've shifted in 2 seconds and okay, that's what she wants, it's coming towards you. And no, it cannot be delivered because you don't have a fixed address. Your frequency is going all over the place. Which radio station are you listening to? Is it classical? Is it pop? Is it rock? Is it R&B? You can't, as you can imagine, if there's a dial on a radio station, you have to choose one. And if you really want to enjoy that song, then you have to leave the dial on that station. If you keep flicking between them, then you keep getting a little bit of each, which is probably creating anxiety, because what is it that you truly want? And this goes back to the last step of reconnecting with who you truly are. That's where the juice is. So clarity, having that vision, re-envisioning is super important. If you don't have a vision, if you're not clear about it, if you're not connected with it, if you're playing small, which is not your true vision, that is part of the confusion. Now, the fifth abundance block is camping in frustration and dissatisfaction. And sometimes as high achievers, we do this because we think that if we say we're satisfied, if we say that's good enough because it's not perfect, then we're settling for mediocrity. Huge mistake. Even when things are not in quotes perfect, even where there is huge room for improvement, it is still incredibly beneficial and powerful when you get to be the one who sees the good. And from that good, you build on what more can we do? What more do I want? So acknowledging and giving gratitude for what is already now does not mean you are settling. It doesn't mean that this is all you can have. It's simply a beautiful space to become a joy generator. So instead of you waiting until XYZ happens exactly the way you envisioned it, you get to step into where in my life can I count my blessings? What in the situation is actually an absolute source of gratitude and joy? How can I be the one that brings the joy to whatever it is that I choose to grace with my presence? Be boldly joyous. That is something that will truly accelerate whatever it is that you want to manifest. The sixth abundance block is difficulty receiving. There was a time that when I went on a date with a guy, a friend of mine said, Bolo TV, you're not going to reach for the check. You're going to wait and you're going to allow him invite you. I was like, but I can't do that. She's like, you're going to sit in your hand. I'm like, okay, I'm coachable. So I sat in my hand. I remember that day and he paid. I was grateful, said thank you, and he was happy, and that was that. I thought, ooh, this is not that difficult. Then what happened then was, although I'd learned to be invited by gentlemen who took me on dates, I was still be the one who would always fight to be the one who paid when I went out with my girlfriends. And I realized that what I was doing there was holding on to control. I felt more in control when I paid, so I wasn't feeling as in control if I was receiving. Receiving is a powerful act. There's this thing in the world where giving is better than receiving. Big lie. Receiving and giving are equally beautiful, equally important. In fact, if everyone gave and no one received, how can the giver give? If everyone received and no one gave, who will there be to give to those who want to receive? It's like breathing in and breathing out. A phenomenal feminine woman is powerful in her capacity to allow that which she has visualized and manifested come into her being. And this is the art of receiving. And so in order to receive, it's important to be able to open up vulnerably and trust, to understand that life is happening through you, not by you. And if we're resisting in this area of our lives, it's very, very likely we're resisting in other areas of our lives. And so if you're one of those women who really wants to do big, beautiful, audacious, bold, great things, then you get to master the art of receiving. Receiving inspiration, receiving support, receiving financial, whatever it is, you get to be a master at receiving. Because the bigger that vision, the bolder the vision, the more important it is that you're able to receive the resources and the support that you require in order to show up and truly fulfill. And so I'd love to ask you, which of these blocks, is it the filling your space with chronic shame, blame, guilt, resentment? Is it the not resting, always working, always being in action mode? Is it the disconnection from your true self and what you truly desire and no longer even walking to the beat of your own heart? Is it the confusion, the lack of a vision of what you truly want to do, who you truly are? Is it coming from a space of frustration as a fuel, as opposed to understanding that joy is the most powerful fuel of all in terms of accelerating you receiving your desires? Or is it simply a discomfort with receiving compliments, money, support, advice? Which of these 6 blocks resonated the most with you? It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be all of them. But which one? I really want you to go there because, as you know, transformation starts only where there is radical acceptance. I'm going to be sharing on how we flip the script on these 6 blocks next week. So I invite you to click on the subscribe button so you get the invitation to come and listen to me. I want to really invite you to go deep with these blocks for abundance, because once we understand what they are, then we can consciously shift. And life can be so much more juicy. Love and light. See you soon.